1-yard line. Roethlisberger handing it off. This is Connor. He is in for a Steelers touchdown. It is Smith-Schuster who makes the catch.
What a catch.
Finds McDonald, and he takes it in for a Steelers touchdown.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Steel Studio Podcast. We are here with our NFL expert, Chad Schmock. Chad, what are your thoughts around the Ravens-Steelers game that we just saw last weekend?
You know, that's a great win for the Steelers. I think anytime you beat a Ravens team, you got to be thrilled with that. I think they did exactly what they needed to. I think they made Lamar Jackson a passer and really kind of limited his ability to hurt him with the legs. And, you know, he proved once again that when you make him a passer against a good defense, he doesn't always perform well. And, you know, hats off to the Steelers. The scary thing for me was the passing game for the Steelers really didn't perform well. I think there's a lot that the Steelers can improve on. And I think, you know, Lamar Jackson kind of is who he is, and I'm not sure how much of that is fixable. So going forward with those two teams, I'd be nervous if I was a Ravens fan after seeing that.
That's something that we've been talking about a lot. It's like it feels like the Steelers are obviously they're 7-0, but it feels like they're just getting started and the ball is just going to start rolling. They're not even jiving yet. So I feel like we've got a really good team coming up here in the near future.
I think so. I think, you know, Ben is going to improve in that passing game. I can't imagine that's going to continue with the turnovers the way they've been and just the missing open receivers the way that's happened. And to be 7-0 and having those things happen, those are great problems to have. So.
Yeah, so we have Dallas. This is a team that most people had as a Super Bowl contender, you know, before the season started. What's the state of the team? Very injured. Very, very injured. They just announced that they're benching their third-team quarterback, the kid that started last week, Ben DiNucci, for them, who they, in their infinite wisdom, thought it was a great idea to have him throw the ball 40 times. Not sure why that happened with Ezekiel Elliott, but they announced today they're going to bench him, and there's actually going to be a competition between Cooper Rush, a kid out of Central Michigan, and Garrett Gilbert, who was the number 3 quarterback on the Browns roster last year to start this game. Dak Prescott obviously out for the year for them. Andy Dalton just got put on the COVID list today. So Steelers will be looking at a 4th-team quarterback against the best defense in the league. So I think every Steelers fan is going to love that idea.
Hey, Chad. How are you? It's Rick.
Great, Rick. How are you?
Is that Gilbert from the Revenge of the Nerds?
No, that's Garrett Gilbert from the Revenge of the AAF.
Hey, you never know, man. Against us, guys like that always seem to come in and do great. So you never know.
That is true, but I highly doubt it.
So does Mike McCarthy have control of the team, and is he on the hot seat at all? Are fans starting to get antsy with them? I mean, they were supposed to be really good, man.
They were supposed to be really good. I think he does have control of the team. For how long he has control of the team, I don't know. I think anytime you're dealing with Jerry Jones, you're probably on the hot seat the day after he hires you. But Mike McCarthy's got that reputation of being a lazy coach. I don't think that's going to sit well in Dallas. You look at, you know, he was in Green Bay. They underperformed. They got rid of him. They didn't really change anything else, and they became a playoff team overnight. So I don't see him lasting very long. I think there could be a change this year. If not this year, probably definitely next year.
You know, I see their offense isn't ranked too bad. It looks like they moved the ball some, not last week, of course, but and I thought Andy Dalton was going to be back, but can they win with one of these 2 other quarterbacks? I mean, they can win some division games. I mean, they play in the worst division in football, maybe the worst division ever in football this year. And they have some offensive weapons. When you look at that receiving core, they have Amari Cooper, who's, you know, a great wide receiver. They have Michael Gallup, who's a very solid wide receiver. They drafted CeeDee Lamb in the first round out of Oklahoma, who's a very, very good wide receiver. Ezekiel Elliott's going to be a top 10 running back in the league. So they have some weapons. Their problem is offensive line related. Both of their tackles, Lyle Collins and Tyron Smith, are out for the year.
They lost their best guard, Zach Martin. He's dealing with a concussion. Odds are he probably doesn't play against the Steelers. So, I mean, you're dealing with a fourth-team quarterback missing 3/5 of your offensive line. That's a tough ask for anybody.
So you pretty much just answered my next question for me. But on the O-line, do they have anybody that does stand out, or is it just pretty much, aside from those three that are gone, I mean, is it just bare bones?
It's really, really bare bones for me outside of those two. Those three are great offensive linemen. All of them have been to a Pro Bowl, and losing them just makes it very difficult. They don't have anybody that's really going to step up and be a road grader or really protect well in the passing game.
So you think Zeke Elliott been playing well, and even in spite of this, and you think he's happy there? And what kind of run scheme do they run?
Zeke Elliott, at least when Dak was there, he kind of took a back seat to the passing game. When he gets carries, he does okay. I don't think he's the Zeke Elliott of 2-3 years ago, but he has improved a little bit in the passing game. He's getting paid a lot of money, so I think he's happy from the standpoint of he's got a very nice high-priced contract. Running scheme, they do a little bit of the zone scheme as well as some of the gap blocking schemes. Given the changes on the offensive line, I think you're going to see more of a gap power run type style, just 'cause it's a little bit easier to grasp for all those backups.
So you've already mentioned that their receiving core is just really strong. Out of the few that you mentioned, who's the biggest threat individually to the Steelers, you think?
I think Amari Cooper is probably the most established by far. He did only catch one ball for 5 yards last week. But I think that's going to be the player that they game plan for. But, I mean, also CeeDee Lamb is a very promising rookie that he can go deep and he can go over the middle. So I think he's going to have a little bit more than one-on-one matchup. So he's the one that could potentially have the better game.
So if we switch over their defense briefly, it seems like they've had a lot of trouble stopping the run. Is that really going to be the key for the Steelers? And also, who's the best player on their defense?
So the best player on their defense by far is going to be Jalen Smith. He's a linebacker out of Notre Dame. Remember a few years ago, he was the kid that had the freak injury in the bowl game against Ohio State, and ended up costing them from going to be a top 3 pick to end up going in the second round. They also have DeMarcus Lawrence on the defensive line. He's a really good pass rusher. He does a good job for them. They're going to struggle against the run, but, I mean, they also struggle against the pass. The Steelers should be able to do just about whatever they want against this team. They did get Sean Lee back at linebacker. They also got Leighton Vander Esch back at linebacker last week, so that should help a little bit, but I really don't see any issues moving the ball, either through the run or through the pass. I actually look for the Steelers probably to work on kind of establishing that passing game a little bit more this week, just because there's going to be less pressure on them.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that secondary. Do they have a whole new crew from last year? What's the issue with that? And then they had a lot of sacks on defense.
So not really. They're switching over. They're staying at the 4-3, but they're also incorporating a lot more of the 3-4 looks, and I think just the personnel-wise, that hurts them, and it's just a little bit more difficult to get used to. They actually added a kid named Trayvon Diggs out of Alabama to play corner. He's doing a pretty good job for him, but he's just a young corner in the NFL. There's some growing pains. Xavier Woods back there at safety, who does a pretty decent job for him, but they don't have that explosive great player in the secondary that really can just go one-on-one on an island and help people out. They're lacking that, and that really hurts them in the passing game. They do have some sacks, but nothing to really write home about.
So for the Cowboys, what's their best approach? What would be the best way for them to beat the Steelers?
Pray.
The game gets canceled.
No, in all seriousness, I mean, I would try to run more of a ball, control the clock, run a ball control. I would try to give the ball to Zeke 25 to 30 times, really try to use a short passing game, get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly.
and on the defensive side of the ball, really play more of a almost like a prevent style defense, keep everything in front of you and hope that there's some mistakes, hope that Ben, is inaccurate or there's a fumble and try to take advantage of those stops.
Yeah, Chad, I know two of our D linemen are probably going to be out for this game, Cam Hayward and Tyson Alualu. They couldn't run the ball on us.
It's possible. I just, with the offensive line this in the state that it is, I just can't imagine them really doing anything with consistency now. Zeke Elliott's an all-pro level running back. Could he break one? Sure. But consistently, are they going to be able to get to the 21, 24, 27 points it's going to take to win this game? Probably not. I think maybe they can get 2 scores on the board. That'll be a good day for them, and I just don't see them holding that Steelers offense down for any period of time unless they just completely have self-inflicted wounds.
What's your official prediction?
I'm going to say Steelers big, probably 2 to 3 scores, potentially more than that, depending on how long they want to keep the starters in.
Well, I'll take it. We hope so. What about the rest of the AFC North? Do you think the Browns are in trouble, and you think the Ravens are taking a step back, maybe?
I think it's hard to say the Ravens are taking a step back. I think, they're right now they're going to sit in there as the third best team in the AFC, slotted behind the Steelers and the Chiefs. I don't see anybody else in the AFC that could potentially beat them. The Browns just defensively, that's going to be a problem for them all year. Linebackers and safeties, when you don't value that in the off season, it tends to hurt you. I don't think that they're going to do too much. I think they'll win some games, probably 8-8, 9-7, but I don't think they're going to be anywhere near the level of where the Steelers are, where the Ravens are, and losing Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry playing with a broken rib. And you're one hit away from being in real trouble at the wide receiver position as well.
And how in the heck did the Bengals beat the Titans?
The Bengals
came to play.
They came to play, and that offense, Joe Burrow, if he stays upright and they don't get him seriously hurt, he's a very, very good quarterback. And this is the first time that they've really played a complete game. There's been a lot of games where they played really good for 2 or 3 quarters and then just kind of fell apart in the second half. This time, it started to come together. I'm pretty high on the Bengals. I think they're a year or 2 away, but they're starting to build that thing the right way, and they have weapons over there that they could have a pretty decent second half, win maybe 3 or 4 games.
Well, yeah, we play them next week, so that'll be fun. But it'll be interesting, and we're so excited. I don't think we've played a complete game yet, believe it or not. So we're looking for that.
I agree.
Maybe this week.
I agree.
But hey, Chad, thanks for your time, and always appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you guys. Good luck this weekend.